accused number one in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial is back on the stand for further cross-examination this morning. Prosecutors have been grilling Muzi Sibiya on his testimony of what happened at the time of his arrest in May of 2020. Now, he's claimed that the lead investigator, Brigadier Bongani Gininda, was present when he was allegedly forced to sign an alleged confession statement. Let's speak now to Mnisi. He is following that story for us, but monitoring things in studio this time around. Linda, good morning to you. So let's begin the conversation with Muzi Sibiya distancing himself. He continues to distance himself from the version that has been presented in court by his lawyers. Take us back.
Yeah, you'll remember that the court, in as far as both Muzi Sibiya and Bongani Ntanzi is concerned, is sitting with a number of versions about what exactly happened and the circumstances that led to them making confession statements. And one particular incident that stood out yesterday in court was the issue around what happened when he was arrested in May 2020. What his lawyer, in fact, Sipora Musebile, told the court as a version earlier was that when the police arrived at the shack that he lived in, they found his uncle there who opened for them. But what Advocate Mngomezulu, who's still representing Muzi Sibiya, said to the court is that when the police arrived, they did not find the uncle. So what does then Muzi Sibiya have to say about it? Muzi Sibiya is in line with Mngomezulu and says, well, there were no police. Well, in fact, he says, I don't know because I did not exit the car with the police and go into my shack. They came back and they said they didn't find anybody. So I assume that there was nobody. And this is a problem because of the many different versions that they've been giving to the court. Which one should the court go with? And when he's asked about why there are different versions that are being presented to the court, because he is the person that is instructing the lawyers who are representing him, they are acting on his behalf and are putting his version to the state witnesses that are coming to court. And he says, well, this is my version. My lawyers can tell you what they want to tell you. They can put their own version. In fact, he goes as far as saying, meaning ask Mngomezulu why he said what he said, which of course is really startling.
Does it give credence then to prosecutors who are questioning him when they say, it would seem, Mr. Sibiya, you are tailoring this evidence in order to suit whatever version?
Absolutely, and what the state is playing at here is, particularly when you look at the line of questioning, is whether or not Muzi is a credible witness. You know, oftentimes we see a very timid and shy Muzi Sibiya in the, dock, but the Muzi Sibiya that is in the witness stand is a completely different person, quite stern, and forthright. But then his version of events, in as far as this particular evidence is concerned, really led the state to asking whether or not, he was a credible witness. And that is why they're saying, you're tailoring your version. It's fabricated. And that is why your version is different from the lawyers that are even representing you.
Let's talk about the claim that he was given a prepared statement. Where does that fit into this picture?
You'll remember that when they took down the confession statement, there is a document called a pro forma document. This document is basically a pre-interview that a person who deposes a confession must be taken through.
Yeah.
So the peace officer who takes the confession must take or interview the accused person, asking them the questions that are on that particular form. And what Muzi Sibiya says is that he never participated in that kind of a conversation, or at least the questions that were on the pro forma, he was not asked those questions. He was given a confession statement that was already written, that was already compiled, and he was assaulted, and after being assaulted, he was then told to sign. But when he was pressed for answers by the prosecutor around what exactly happened when the pro forma was taken, he says, well, they didn't ask me the questions that are on that document, but they did ask me questions. But I can't remember what those questions are. What I remember is being asked about my involvement in the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. So the prosecutor then asks, were you asked questions? And he says, yes, I was asked questions. Was Colonel Mboto writing down? And ultimately, after being pressed, he says, yes, he was writing down, which then led the prosecutor to then move on to another, area of focus.
Well, as things stand, in fact, the live picture in court as we conclude this conversation from that court. We're going to take you there in a moment, but let's conclude the conversation because some people will be wondering, these are people that are already seated in the dock, the four of them. Now, one of them is in the witness box giving testimony. Why is it that we're not being shown? The viewers may be wondering. Remind us why it is that the court has instructed that we don't show their visuals.
You'll remember this order was made after incidents that took place in the initial trial, which was nullified. That trial was before Judge Maumel.
Yeah.
But when the new trial started, the state still requested for the same, that anybody that takes the witness stand should not be shown. And this is in line with also the evidence that is presented in court. There's a big screen in court that shows pictures, that shows sometimes statements of people that everybody who's in the gallery and everybody that is present in court is able to see. But they've asked that the cameras not show that. So once a person leaves the witness or the dock and goes into the witness box, they enjoy that protection of what is given to a witness because they take the stand as a witness. And we're currently dealing with the defense's case, and Muzi Sibiya is their witness.
Linda Mnisi, thank you very much explaining that to us so well. In fact, this particular court case is now in session. Let's